All, good morning. I'm Vaishnavi, the Incubation Executive from Atal Incubation Center. I welcome you all to the webinar on the. Hello. Hello. Teju ma'am, is my audio
Yes, Vaishnavi.
clear?
Screen.
Okay, Teju ma'am. Welcome to today's webinar hosted by Atal Incubation Center, Central Coffee Research Institute, Center for Entrepreneurship Development, a technology business incubator established at the Coffee Board's head office in Bengaluru. This initiative, in collaboration with the Central Coffee Research Institute and Atal Innovation Mission, is dedicated to supporting and nurturing startups in the coffee sector. At AIC-CCRI-CED, we offer a range of facilities and services designed to accelerate the growth of innovative coffee-related ventures. Our resources include state-of-the-art laboratories, mentorship programs, funding opportunities, and access to industry experts. Today's session is a part of our Thought Cafe webinar series, which provides valuable insights on the coffee industry, startup ecosystem, and effective business strategies that are crucial for the success of the startups. To deliver this webinar, we have with us today Mr. Tushar Singh, Director, South and Central Asia, Dimitra Technologies. Mr. Tushar is an accomplished leader specializing in digitalization, sustainability, and strategic partnerships across South and Central Asia. As director at Dimitra Technology, he drives growth through a unique blend of sales, marketing, ESG maturity planning, including BRSR and EUDR, TIC certification, blockchain, and Web3 integrations. With a strong track record of enabling businesses to transform through digital and sustainable solutions, Mr. Tushar brings holistic market insights and a forward thinking mindset to every initiative. He's passionate about guiding organizations on their ESG journeys and ensuring long term stakeholder value. We are excited to have you share your insights with us today. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of Atal Incubation Center Coffee Board. Over to you.
Thanks, Madam Vaishnavi. First of all, thanks also to the Atal Incubation and the team at the Coffee Board here at head office. I'm presenting myself from their head office itself, and welcome to once you had hosted this particular event to all your audience, and brief introduction that you had given about myself and the company and the background. This particular session that's we had parked it for we are preparing for the India's coffee sector. We can expand the other commodities covered under the EUD. So I'll seek your permission to proceed.
Yes, sir. Also, dear participants, we would like you to, interact in between in case you have any questions. We would like it to be more of an interactive session. Teju, now you can share your presentation.
Yes.
So let's start it. The time allotted is 1 hour. We will consume the entire time available. And let's segregate this discussion dedicated for the UDR coffee segments into the 4 different bullet points. And as Vaishnavi also just told, let's make it more of an interactive. And let's take a 4th point more emphatically. It's not that 1, 2, 3 we will not be taking. Let's make it more interactive. And any questions in between will also be welcome, or towards the end will also be welcome. So let's proceed. So what exactly is the UDR and why it has come into the being, and what is the process, and why its existence, who owns it, who are the stakeholders, what has to be done. So these all things majorly have been covered by now, because already a 1-year plugin time duration has been given to all the stakeholders. And it is almost at the door knocking to proceed ahead, the compliance from the stakeholders. I will restrict myself only to the coffee, but in the other segments, other 6 segments also, if you can have any questions, you can plug in. So it's ideally a version from EUTR, which migrated and moved into EUDR. So European Union Timber Regulation moved into European Union Deforestation Regulation. So it's meaning thereby of these 7 commodities, any derivatives derived out of these 7 commodities, whose starting material is these 7 commodities, has to be under the jurisdiction of the EUDR. So meaning thereby any commodities whose starting, any finished product whose starting material is the coffee, it has to be under the EUDR ambit. So there are some gray areas that can be covered at the later end, but broadly speaking, what all that starts with the commodity will be taken as under the compliance. So that's the part of the EUDR. My introduction has already been given. I represent the company called Dimitra Technologies, based out of US, and we are present across the 7 continents. I represent South and Southeast, South Asia and Central Asia, to some extent Southeast Asia as well. And primarily, we will restrict ourselves into the EUDR, but we give ESG solutions, ESG maturity indexes, carbon credits, RWA. RWA may not be new, but it's a real world agri assets, which is converted into the non-fungible tokens and then put it on a digital medium. So in this, we are doing 1 million avocados. In Kenya, we are doing for pineapple with the UN FAO projects. So other segments we are doing it. We can do it with other agro commodities as well. So right now, the discussion on the table is on the EUDR compliances, as well as how to take it ahead purely in the Indian context, and how Dimitra represents and assists the stakeholders, entrepreneurs, exporters, investors to take the compliance of the EUDR. So ideally, if anyone believes it was already there, then 1-year plugin period was there, or this pushed there. Now any aspersions also, its implementation date. Ideally, it will be implemented from 31st of December this year, but technically to take the container from any of the origin country around the world, including India, to any of the EU ports, 30 to 60 days is taken. Now, keeping that view in view, ideally from September onwards, or take as October, October onwards, any of your existing buyer or the prospective buyers will be expecting you to show them that yes, you are EUDR ready, you are EUDR compliant, or you are moving towards the compliance of the laid down EUDR legislation norms. So technically, it comes out to be September, October. On paper, it comes out to be for 31st of December this year. So coming to what Dimitra will be providing to their clients across the world, and in my case, in South and Central part of the world, we are present both in the supplier as well as the operator domain. So operator meaning thereby the buyer, the importer. So EUDR version, the Dimitra EUDR supplier web portal is one digital media, and the EUDR Dimitra EUDR operator is a separate version. Same versions will be used by the supplier, as well as the mirror image of it is used by the operator. So biggest point is that the entire data stream that has to be fed, it is to be done by the operator, by your buyer. Upon receiving the the entire data from your side. The buyer of yours has to feed them once he has shared the purchase order. So purchase order will be received by the exporter, the supplier, and in turn share the data which they themselves will be feeding into the system. Now data complexity, who owns the data? Let's take it to the next stage. So deforestation, risk identification, risk analysis, and then the risk mitigation. That will be the broad parameters of the EUDR. So Dimitra also do have a complete traceability of coffee and the other commodities as well. If you can go to the Android Play Store, though we have iOS also, but on the Android Play Store, if you type connected coffee farmer, you will get that app. Not all features will be available, but a broad level will be there once the global team conjoins there. The other features will also be available. So what does it does? The entire coffee from seedling, growing, harvesting, plus the entire stages will be logged in onto a digital platform. So meaning thereby low value carbon coffee on the digital platform. So entire mandate of the EUDR and the other legislations which are in the pipeline, I should not say pipeline, they are already there out in the discussion phase, all will be requiring the entire agro commodity value chain to be digitized. Not just digitized, I have used the word digitized as well as digitalized. So that is the backbone, or it is a migration, what we, our fathers, grandfathers used to cultivate coffee and other stuffs. Though no doubt it is a shade grown coffee. Yes, that's the best in the world in terms of authenticity, genuinity, but it's, I usually take it in the sense, yes, it is a shade grown coffee, but to the global laws, we have to comply. Definitely, we will stake at the global forums, at the regional forums, our views, our versions, our inputs. But these are the global legislations, which cumulatively you can put it as green legislations. We have to comply. The other part, the big muscles in the UDR part of the digitization, Dimitra has its own crypto tokens, that is DMTR tokens. If you are enthusiast about the cryptocurrencies, that's a good point of an interest. So entire exercise of the backend digital chain that is being conducted by the company runs on the currency called DMTR, and that's perfectly legal also within India as well as also. That is one of the major things that Dimitra will be coming and giving to the clients, and a key differentiator from the other peers, other global peers. And we use the blockchain as mandated in the legislations that will also ensue. We use predictive AI, machine learning, generative AI, and the agentic AI to come out with the identification of deforestation through the satellites. We have access to 23 satellites, and at this stage, more and more satellites in the sky, and less the paid annual subscriptions on the satellites. So majority of the data right now through the satellites, be the geospatial ones or be the focus length of 10 by 10 or even lesser than that are available, depending upon what exactly the client is requiring and what exactly the mandated by the legislation. We will proceed to the next one. So what all is covered under the EUDR legislation? So it has, it's the mandate is clear that the digitization is one thing. These are 7 commodities that they cover. And Dimitra primarily is not into the cattle, buffalo, and the skin and the rubber. We are not into that. Maybe tomorrow we can expand into those geographies as well. That's a separate thing. As of now, EUDR is what's the mandate of it and for whom it is the addressing. So digitization is one part, and it detects the deforestation losses. As I just told, the entire agro commodity value chain has to be digitized and digitalized. That is one intent. The spectral mapping, how it is to be done, spectral satellite mapping with the focal length of XXX meters. So those all will be the inherent demands of the legislation. And the other point is they duly respect and keep the local origin country nation laws also. Those are incorporated. And once this has to be recorded somewhere on the blockchain, so as to be at any point of time, it can be retrieved irrefutably as and when the red flag raised or any other query is raised from the EU port authorities or EU Commission. Things will not stop at this stage. In the point 6, there are other legislations in the pipeline. CS3D is there, Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive. So next one is Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, Digital Product Passport. Ideally, Digital Product Passport, people may say, will not be applicable on the agro commodities, but yes, it will do. So agro commodities on the packaging side, they all will be derived from the agro harvest. It will be applicable. So meaning thereby with the 6th point, it's not that UDR is a full stop with that entire deforestation mandates will be covered or will be expected and earth will be green. Yes, it is a one step in the right direction. Complexities may be there. Yes, we are here to declassify it, keep the things in right perspective, whatever is being propagated or pushed in the thin air that has to scotch down. So those all things will be there, meaning thereby the entire green legislation will continue to be there across the world, including domestic markets. Any questions you want to take it at that side right now? You want to proceed towards the end? Towards the end? We should do the next slide. Yes, this is one of the delivery news that I want to share. On the left-hand side, June 17th, we have taken out this publication, we have done it. Still, we are waiting the official communique from the Indonesian government, which today by evening we will be getting, or by tomorrow we'll be getting in the Indonesian Bahasa language, which will be converted into the English and then circulated across the world. We got the government of Indonesia contract for UDR and the digitization of their coffee and the cacao value chain. On the left-hand side, so that means close to 3 million farmers, we will be doing complete UDR certifications and the data digitization for them. Both things, data digitization plus the UDR compliances, meaning thereby any player within the geography of Indonesia, if they plan or have an intent to export to EU27 directly or indirectly. So what I mean by indirectly, I will explain later, has to go through the Mitra portals. So meaning thereby the government agency, surveyor, PT surveyor, they will be a nodal agency from the government side. And John Trask is a CEO of the Mitra. He has also done it. It is reposted. We are just waiting, maybe maximum by Monday, it will be there in Indonesian Bahasa language. The right side of the picture of the screen is we are working with the Ethiopian coffee farmers to harvest something around 79,000 tons of coffee annually, and that's of the premium and the authentic grade globally. We love the Ethiopian coffee. So these are the two achievements that we had done recently, and which most importantly, which we are allowed to share it globally. There are some of the clients which have signed the dotted lines not to share their clients' names. And right now, in my memory and in my tongue also, they are just about to shoot out, but I will restrict myself with the professional behavior that we have committed, not to share the names of the clients, both globally as well as domestically in South and the Central Asia. So I will restrict myself not to name the specific clients. So these are the two which we had taken a go ahead from the Indonesian government that we can proceed ahead, and definitely from the Ethiopian Coffee Board to share their names globally. Let's slide. So what exactly the deforestation means and how it is to be captured and why exactly it is to be captured and what will be the methods. So deforestation verification, again, I'll bring the same point which I interact with the majority of the stakeholders in Vietnam, Malaysia, Philippines, India. They say, okay, specifically in India, we used to grow the shade grown coffee, no inherent policies since last 10, 15 years to cut any trees. Why exactly this is an additional burden of UDR? So those all questions needs to be answered as in a simple way. Suppose I'm sitting in a conference room and 10 people are sitting there and all say, okay, each one is COVID negative. Take for that example. But we need to still produce something, some lab report, some swab analysis that yes, we are certified COVID negatives. On the similar case, on the deforestation platform tomorrow, the ESG platforms tomorrow on the carbon credits. So those all things require some kind of a documentation so as to prove. So as to prove, meaning thereby it has to compulsorily be on the blockchain so as to have a complete irrefutable traceability across the chain. So what does it mean? Meaning thereby each and every step taken by the stakeholder, by the grower, by the roaster, by the processor, by the exporter, by the farmer, by the planter has to be digitized. Meaning thereby, suppose I am a buyer and I interact with any of the planters or any of the cooperatives or any of the exporters, if they show me that their entire coffee value chain or a soybean value chain or a cacao value chain is digitized, then definitely if he were to sell me at say XX price per ton, definitely my mindset will say, okay, now no, I have to give him the premium because everything is digitized. Exact numbers I cannot quote it. So how does it actually achieved and what methods to be taken to get it achieved? So process optimization and time saving effort through the digital mode is a must. And complete automation of the entire value chain. So how it is actually being done on, if you go to the Android Play Store and download the Mitra Connected Farmer and the connected, by the name is Connected Farmer, but once you download it, you have the option of choosing the Connected Coffee. So let me name it as the Mitra Connected Coffee app. So there, once you download it, the entire value chain, it can be digitized. You register a farm of yours, its geo coordinates, geo fences, boundaries, nearby areas, all digitally, and you can do it as easy as maybe booking a ticket in a railway ticket on an AIC-CCRI platform or any global airlines booking. It's that easy. More importantly, it is in the multiple languages. It's in Kannada, it's in Marathi, it's in Nepali, it's in Telugu, all different languages. And if any language is not there, we can do it in a 10, 15, 20 days of time. That will help track the land use pattern and the deforestation. If at all any deforestation is there, that has to be tracked and coded. So when I say deforestation, it absolutely doesn't mean in the India that the planter or the farmer cannot cut any tree. No, now you don't have to go near the tree, you don't have to cut it. Yes, the trees can be cut if it is infested, if it is any other, or even if it is a commercial angle involved to it. Then what about the timber industry in UDR? So if UDR comes, the timber industry will completely fall. It's not that way. If someone is cutting the tree, it has to be planted, replanted with the laid down species of that particular area. The fast growing species, tree species, if someone is cutting that. So same is applicable in the timber as well. So once they cut down the high yielding or the fast growing trees, they replant it. So this entire activity has to be recorded somewhere. So as to specifically in the timber case and equally applicable in the coffee case. I will restrict myself more towards the coffee. So even at the coffee farm, if some forest trees are there, sorry, not the forest, the trees are there which has attained the maturity level and they have not parked it or linked it to any of the carbon credit projects. It can be cut down for a commercial value and then replanted with the fast growing tree species of that particular area, be it of Karnataka, Kerala, be it any other, depending upon the location. If it is a soybean field of, say, Latur, Vidarbha, or in the MP region, the tree species which are fast growing has to be sown, and more important, it has to be recorded. Not more important, that is compulsory. That's why you can tomorrow call it as a complete digitized coffee value chain, or a digitized soybean value chain, or a digitized cacao value chain. And then finally, it comes out to be in the form of EUDR DDS statement. So ideally, it is a statement, it's not a certificate, but I need to correct that word. So it's not a compliance certificate, but you can take it presumably as a DDS statement indirectly meaning the certificate itself. But technically in the legislation, certificate word has not been used. So issuance of the EUDR DDS statement after due diligence, what has come out is a EUDR certification, EUDR compliance certification issued by the traces system. And that has to be done by the buyer of yours. But ultimately, you can query, okay, if everything has to be done by buyer, why the supplier is burdened and the overburdened. It's not that way. Ultimately, the data has to come down from the origin country national laws itself. Now, this specific slide states polygon circular. Don't confuse it circular or the polygon. Polygon itself meaning thereby a minimum 3 vertices. If it is a less than 4 and the more than 4, I'll cover in the next slide. So what is it? Polygon in a circular forms in the 1 million avocados that we do for pineapples, avocados, and the others, there we take as a circular polygon, more specifically in the trees and the timber. And what exactly Dimitra does it in the form of deforestation analysis, deforestation identification and analysis. So once our access to the satellites gives the report of a particular geofence, that to what extent it is deforested, these are the 6 deforestation probabilities that we give to the client of ours or to the any polygon. And here, what global peers are doing, this is not the correct platform to engage there, but we give the best available 6 deforestation probabilities of a single polygon. So meaning thereby complete deforestation analysis of a particular farm plot, be it of any commodity, excluding the skin and the cow and the buffalo ones. You get the complete deforestation probability and in turn fit to go for an export. So ideally, some of the times you can say, okay, it has to be by 6, it can be 5, it can be 4, it can be just 1 itself. So that's a gray area. Let's park it aside. What is the outcome that is on the right hand side? So deforestation percentage, tree cover, the tree species which have an ability to grow more than 5 meters, those also captured, tree canopy needs to be captured. So all those things comes out in the form of the right hand side the statement. These are of the intentionally I have put it non-India geography so as to not conflict with any of the existing, because I'm sitting right now in India. That's why not to confirm with any of the other clients. So the right picture is from the Indonesia farm. And the statement that comes out from the Dimitra EUDR supplier web portal. Again, I am using the full word, Dimitra EUDR supplier web portal. The outcome in the form of 3 statements comes out. Once you can, the same statement can be accessible on the QR code. Same statements gets accessible through the web portal, the public web portal, and the third, it will be on the blockchain. So all the 3, it has to be available, and the buyer of yours can access, or anyone can access from the 3 different platforms, be it a QR code, be it a blockchain, or be it the public web. And it, more importantly, it cannot be edited once it is issued as mandated by the legislation. You can proceed to the next. So this is a broad classification, what to be done under the UDR legislation, data to be captured, data collections, data recorded under the different articles of the UDR, then it has to be consolidated one particular place. The production places, each deforestation report, each farm deforestation has to be there, then clubbed it with, because suppose take for example 20 feet container is being exported or a 40 feet container. So how much harvest goes to a 20 feet container? It can be take presumably 1,000 farmers. So all those 1,000 farmers farm plots needs to be codified, then digitized, and then deforestation analysis of that. If at all any risk mitigation efforts are required, those has to be done either manually or it has to be done through other means, but it has to be recorded. So this is a complete one slide snapshot for all the activities that has to be done under the different articles of the UDR. So as to have that particular the coffee cooperative or a soybean cooperative to be completely UDR certified and compliant. Yeah, next. This is a little more in-depth. The right-hand side map is taken from the map itself, where we use the LULC mapping, land use land cover mapping of the origin country, which we have done most of the countries across the world, and within India, not just of coffee, but of soybean, cacao, and palm, we have done it.
I don't
So
see any.
Immediate.
Check the device you'd like to use and make sure Bluetooth is turned on. To set up a new device, go to your Alexa app.
Is it a question posed to me?
No, sir. There was some audio disturbance in between.
Okay. So the LULC mapping, land use, land cover, and FIPC free, and the prior consent of the local community, that is the must clause under the UDR. So meaning thereby, once the UDR DDS statement is generated and given to the buyer and expected by the EU Commission, it has to compulsorily have the prior consent of the local farming community or the local growing community. The consent meaning thereby the technical word used as survey. So survey doesn't mean as a dictionary meaning, survey meaning thereby the consent of the local community. So point fifth, I have mentioned that conformity to the local laid down laws. Local laid down forestry laws, local laid down agricultural laws, local laid down where the overlapping boundaries are there with the legally laid down farming land and the forest land or any other activity land. So those all needs to be complied with the local laid down laws. The most important, the segregation is into the 9 parts. The risk evaluation has to be done on a plot basis. So meaning thereby now the agro trade has shifted from the bulk trading. Yes, bulk trading will be there. So meaning thereby to shift from the bulk to the risk evaluation at the ground zero level. So meaning thereby where that particular commodity is being grown, the source of that commodity, traceability or the deforestation or tomorrow the other investments that is required has to be at the ground zero, the source origin plot. And that has to be there and that will be there. So once that risk is evaluated, risk meaning thereby not just the deforestation risk. So there are many other risks involved. All those risks needs to be evaluated, and in that deforestation is one of the major risks. Then the assessment of that particular risk is required, and the analysis of those particular risks. The canopy cover has to be more than 10%, tree height, or those trees which are as of now in a satellite picture less than 5 meters, but they have an intent or a tendency to grow more than 5 meters. Those also needs to be captured, saved, and covered. Distinguishing between the natural and the planted forest, that is much more important, tricky, and a minute assessment, which Dimitra is successfully doing globally and in India as well. Mandated resolution of the satellite pictures is 10 by 10 meters. Yes, people expect 5 by 5 meters also, even 2 by 2 meters, and some of the neighboring countries For seafood, they are doing as 2 by 2 meters also, not in the India, but outside. So those all practically available digital pictures we also do have, but that is not required under the EUDR. So that's the most important point. If you are of the opinion, no, 10 by 10 meter is not, it's not sufficient. It has to be much more resolution. So much more resolution didn't mean that we will migrate to the military grade of resolution pictures. That's absolutely not required. No intent to listen how two coffee cherries are speaking to each other. Let them grow happily. On the other points, the reporting structure or a monitoring system or an ERP system or a digitized system has to be there. Conformity to the local laws is already there. And the other most important point is the entire data related to the export, related to the grown of the coffee, soybean, cacao, palm, and if it's exported directly and indirectly. Let me take this, what I mean by directly and indirectly. Suppose any of your clients is taking a 20 feet, 40 feet container or a vessel directly from India to, say, any of the EU country. It's a direct export, it compulsorily will demand a UDR DDS. Suppose any container, any client of yours demands a container which is in non-EU nations or say rest of Asia. And half of the container output he uses and half of the container he re-exports to EU. So in that case, definitely it's a, you will be required to share the UDR DDS. And in that case, they will expect a buyer of yours. And it's an indirect sales, direct and indirect. It's an indirect sales to the EU. Each DD, there's a data limit, the API limits, which we have a firewalls tested by the traces in the UDR portal itself, where the what all firewalls you will be using, what all virus protections, those all we have taken it from the commission. And each DDS has to be less than 25 MB. So they are the technicalities and the digital skills and the satellite mapping of the polygons and how that has done in a particular geometry comes into the picture. And entire data has to be put it on a blockchain, which can be irrefutably retrieved at any point of time. When I say any point of time, meaning thereby at any stage, at the time of export, after export, or for the next 5 years also, because auditing purposes and for any query or a re-query, it is required to be stored for 5 years. And on the 9th point, Dimitra is present not just in the supplier origin country, plus in the importing EU country as well. So how the satellites, through the satellites, the pictures, the polygons, the geofences, the geolocations, all these words have more or less the same meaning, but they are not synonymous. Globally, the entire farm plots are segregated into two broad segments, less than 4 hectares and more than 4 hectares. So more than 4 hectares, it has to be compulsorily a polygon with minimum of 3 vertices. It can be 5, 6, 7, but it cannot be 10, 12, 15. It will be a humongous polygon. And less than 4 hectares, it is a spot polygon word is also used, but more importantly, it is called by the name of latitude longitude. But let me caution here, caution is not a correct word. As of now, the EUDR requires the latitude longitude, but now there is a school of thought that ideally it has to be a polygon itself of the less than 4 hectares. But let's not confuse and let's not make it complex. For now, let it be latitude longitude for less than 4 hectares. But yes, tomorrow it may be a kind of polygon itself. Because in the case of coffee, it's an undulating surface where the coffee is grown. In the soybean case, it's a complete straight stretch of land. So no undulating surface, latitude longitude will suffice. In palm also it will suffice, but in some of the other crops, specifically in coffee, it will not suffice. So tomorrow it can be a change of thought, but as of now, sticking to the laid down rules, it is latitude longitude for less than 4 hectares. So this is the Android application that I was talking of, a connected coffee app where the entire activities at the coffee estate can be recorded and put up for a digitized coffee value chain. You register a farm, you get it your the geofences, geolocations, noted permanently the number of crops that you are taking it from that particular land parcel. Those can be registered. Your internal auditing purposes, satellite weather reports, even your farm equipments, all your farm related documents, all those can be stored in the particular Android app, which can be taken with web applications as well. The more importantly, with that, once your entire operations gets digitized, it gives you a many advantages over the existing scheme of the functioning of the farms. And with this connected farmer app, you can directly link it to the Dimitra UDR portal itself. So meaning thereby portal will work only if it is fed with the geofences and the farmer details. So either you have independently or you do it through your own in-house built ERP applications or the Dimitra connected coffee app. So these are all the points which will be covered. And there are many other things. You can access to the weather reports. You can say, okay, we want the particular geography weather reports to the level of say 1 weekly or an alternate day or more focused towards the monsoon season. Those all things can be customized, custom made available to the clients. Next slide. So this is again an extension of the same Dimitra connected farmer connected coffee app available on the Android, where the entire seedling to plantation to dry billing to buying stations, so all can be captured, and that to digital coding of the coffee bags, everything can be done, everything can be tracked, previous year, this year, comparisons, a complete kind of an ERP system model. Next. So this is a little more deep dive. On the left hand side, two URLs are there. That is more of internal usage. I can access it through the satellites from my laptop itself. It's not public available. So these are the two, take for example, two polygons that we have taken. So these are measured on the 6 different probabilities. So on these 6 different probabilities, the differentiation between the naturally grown forests as well as the planted forests, that is also more importantly required. Agricultural plantation, nearby forest area, or it is adjoining forest area, overlapping forest area. So those all needs to be captured and coded and put up in a portal, which will be derived from LULC mapping and the other system structures in place. Yes, you can make it extra. So this slide I had intentionally added it, showing our enlarged and the enhanced capacities, not just on the deforestation part, plus the remote sensing and the other specifically for the coffee, herbs, cacao, and the palm plantations, where this particular right side picture has been taken from the satellite Lancer 2. Where the individual FFB free fresh fruit bunches have been captured, stating what is their stage of ripening. At that particular stage, it has to be plucked. From plucking stage, gone to the stage of ripening, gone to the processing. So all that can be covered and monitored and assisted to the farmers and the cooperatives and the corporate organizations with the usage of satellites. So that's why, again, the entire the value chain, agro-commodity value chain, has to be verified deforestation and conversion-free value chain. IoT devices, yes, those 8 point, it can be plugged at the site of the harvesting, or it can be plugged it at the site of processing, specifically in the palm or in the coffee and the other commodities as well. Wait, just move back. The other point, the last point, check deforestation and promote afforestation, reforestation, and revegetation. So ideally, it was not there in the UDR parlance, but post that Once we are engaging with the other Southeast Asian and the South Asian countries, there in the government contracts, they are started using the word ARR. So we also incorporated that. So it's meaning thereby once the mitigation exercises to be done for the EUDR, the process of ARR needs to be followed. So afforestation, reforestation, and revegetation. So meaning thereby any tree species local to that area, fast moving, fast growing, and recommended by the local forestry or the agro authorities needs to be given priority for planting and replanting. This is just that we expanded into the converting of agri assets to the NFT, non-fungible tokens, where specifically we had displayed and doing it in avocados in Africa and pineapple farmers also. Some of the corporate pineapple farmers also we are doing, but short not to name them. And this is a new gateway to the agro commodity. So this website you can independently go and have a view at it, and if you want to buy any of the avocados or the pineapple trees in specific outside your the nation geography, that is welcome, so as to have a digitally farmer connected, and it will be all done through the DMTR tokens. Next. So this specific is the one snapshot of the one slide where the Dimitra EUDR supplier web portal is there. So where entire coffee, cacao, palm, soybean, all needs to be done. Where it's a 4 to 7 step process to generate EUDR DDS. Once you have your entire farmer details, your geolocations, geofences, farm fences, then it has to be a step-by-step process where the client himself, the exporter himself, the cooperative himself has to own this particular application. This is a clear segregation that Dimitra will not be doing. You will not be sharing any authentic information of yours to the company. It is this particular portal will be owned by the supplier himself. So meaning thereby your geolocations, your farm locations, your polygons are proprietary asset of yours. I am consciously using the word proprietary asset of yours. It should not be free floated in the market. It should not be shared with any of your buyers. It should not be shared any of the other stakeholders. That's the proprietary information of the company, of the exporter, of the roaster himself. Only a certain portion, suppose hypothetically you can say, suppose a company is there and he is buying from say 100 farmers, and farmer has a free will to give either to A or tomorrow to B. In that particular case, it's okay. Now, who owns that particular asset? Who has a legal authority or the first legal authority of the polygons? Yes, it is the farmer himself who has that land records in his name, has the first right authority on that polygons, on that geofence. It is on his own free will, on his own goodwill, and own local community rights that he is selling to any of the exporter, to any of the roaster, or any of the other stakeholders in downstream value chain. So again, repeating the same thing, getting the polygons clicked or captured by the company, it is the asset of yours. It's the proprietary information of yours. Yes, it has to be in a correct format, latitude, longitudes to be there, farmers' names have to be there, all that's to be captured in a GeoJSON 4.0 format. Those all things are absolutely correct in terms of technicalities, but legally it is owned by the farmer himself, second owned by the exporter. In the EUDR parlance, only two entities are being considered. Who's the supplier and who's the buyer? Finish. Nothing in between. Let's move to the next thing. So this we are coming to an end. This is the last slide where we will be moving. We means as all the stakeholders in the agri commodity value chain. We'll be moving towards the upcoming newer green legislations, more stringent in terms of saving the earth and co-living with the in this particular earth, where Dimitra as a company, we are into ESG solutions in the agribusiness domain. So ESG not into the real estate or financials, hardcore dedicated ESG into the agribusiness foods domain. A very big projects we are doing it with the Agrofrutas of Brazil with the ESG, where the entire export harvest of Brazil, if it comes to India or anywhere in the world, it is codified with the Dimitra ESG tag. And we are into the Dimitra Carbons as well, a separate dedicated websites and a modus operandi of working Dimitra Carbons. So this slide indicates that yes, EUDR is not an end. The other stuffs will also there at the door. Last, and then we conclude this. So this kind of a logo we had intentionally created, but it's not that Dimitra certified AI farm will be there. It is just a symbolic presentation. So here we comes to an end, and then let's go to the first slide and then take the questions from the moderators. You can take any questions, any question answers, or from the audience itself, if we can take any questions.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
you can pose the question right now also, and the emails are there of the other incubation center. You can post it there as well, and it can reach to me, and then I can reply separately and in-depth answers if it's required. And let's use this particular time, maybe 5-10 minutes left it out for the question answer session.
Hello.
Yes, sir,
Hello.
we can hear you. Please proceed with your question, sir.
Good morning, sir. My name is Nagarajan. I am from Tandikudi. I'm a small farmer, sir. I want to, as a farmer, I want to know what is the meaning of this Polygon or the blockchain in your presentation, sir?
Okay, I'll help you explain. Polygons meaning thereby we have studied in the geometry classes, if you can recollect, when teacher used to say, okay, minimum 3 vertices, 3 points has to be there in a polygon. So poly means many. So in that many, it has to be minimum 3 vertices, meaning thereby, suppose you are in your farm estate and you go from point A to point B and to point C and then join it together. So 3 points in a farm, and you completed entire 3 points joined together. So that makes a polygon. So polygon again meaning thereby in a literal sense, area of your coffee plantation or your coffee estate. So that means the polygon. Correct?
Okay, thank you. Next question.
On the blockchain, meaning thereby blockchain is a digitized technology where suppose I wake up in the morning, I had a breakfast, and in breakfast I do have 4 or 5 different things, and I need to record it somewhere that tomorrow if someone asks, okay, you had which origin coffee, I may have had a Brazilian, Indian origin or an Ethiopian origin, then going back I cannot change it. I cannot say, okay, I had a Brazilian, Ethiopian, and an Indian, and at the spur of the moment, I say, okay, no, I have a Vietnamese coffee also. So meaning thereby the data that has been stored, kept on a blockchain, meaning thereby you cannot erase it. More simpler terms that I had written something on a pen and paper, now no rubber can erase that. Hope I answered?
Not able to understand, sir.
Okay, you can email the question, then I will give you with the a kind of a phone call or on the email answer as well.
One more question, sir. I am a farmer. All the digital systems you are talking, in what way it is going to helpful to the farmer? Number 1. Number 2, who will meet the cost, sir? Number 3, if an exporter do all those things, then the farmer will be confined to supply his goods only to that particular export domains. His chances of selling to other people will be limited, sir.
No, let me answer your three questions, if you can segregate into three parts. Why this particular legislations have come and what is the intent behind that. So intent behind that is, number one, the entire farm value chain or anything, the UPI that we are using, the other technological stuff that we are using, everything has to move towards digitized. Digitized meaning thereby not to complex our lives, but to make the lives more easier and completely visible step-by-step process. That is one part of it. So meaning thereby the entire coffee value chain or a soybean value chain or a palm value chain has to be digitized and low carbon. So similar equivalent, the big daddy of, I don't want to make it more complex, the big daddy of EUDR is CBM, carbon border adjustment mechanisms, where the electricity generation, the aluminum furnaces, those are also emitting huge amount of carbon. So taking cue from there, CBM for the big furnaces and generating the carbon, that has to be brought down to acceptable levels across the world, and India is moving a much marching ahead on that front. Similarly, it is expected at the agro commodities, the 7 as well. Intent of these legislations is to have a low value carbon agro commodities value chain. Now coming to the third, quantify and recollect your answer correctly. Who will pay all this cost? So it's not a costly affair or not as an additional cost that is being incurred. It is only the point, whatever the best in class practices, the agro commodity value chain, be it coffee or other commodities, they are doing it. It is only that it has to be codified and digitized. No process needs to be changed. Alterations has to be there, but not completely changed, but it has to be codified and digitized. And it didn't involve that kind of an investment, but yes, a mindset shift and a procedural shift will be there. Now coming to the point of your last point, which you said, okay, if we are giving to the exporters, are we, or to the roasters or to the curers, are we bound to give only one curer or one exporter or a buyer? Absolutely no. Once your output, take for example coffee 4 tons or soybean 5 tons or a palm 3 tons, if that kind of an harvest is there from a one farm plot, the farmer is completely at his free will to sell his produce to output to any of the exporters, roasters or the buyers or the downstream processors, providing only the geo coordinates, providing only the low carbon value chain. That's the only thing that is the bare minimum expected. Hope I answered.
My final question, sir.
Yeah,
A small farmer, no knowledge of all these chain activities. Why should it take so much of authorization in understanding? Is it difficult? Then how I can going to implement it and what way it is going to be beneficial, sir?
right now, if I compare it with the, say, Thai Stock Exchange or to Malaysia Stock Exchange on the rubbers, right now, two commodities are the same commodity is being traded on two ways. One is the UDR certified rubber and non-UDR certified rubber, and both have a $20 to $25 up. So meaning thereby, if I take the correlation, if I can take it as $100 per ton rubber is being traded, the $125 per ton non-UDR rubber may be traded. So this is a kind of the quantum jump on the certified commodity, UDR certified commodity and a non-UDR certified commodity. So this is just a correlative that I had given with the $100 price. Similar applicable to the other commodities as well. So meaning thereby it will be not restricted only to these 7 commodities. It will be expanding other. Yes, it is in the discussion phase, which all other commodities to be there, but it will be expanding. Any other follow-up?
Sir, can I come in?
Yeah, please.
Like, if there is a situation like we have a coffee farm and a third party comes in and he takes the polygon coordinates and moves away, like he uploads it and all those things. So what's the method of authenticating that it has come from the original source and with the knowledge of the farmer? Is there a mechanism for that?
See, ideally, I recollect that I had stated in my present discussion that polygons or the geofences, geo-coordinates or the geolocations, these are the proprietary information and the proprietary asset of the farmer himself. Either
You said
he
so.
can.
Hello? You said so, but my question is if a third person comes in and without our knowledge, they take the coordinates and uploads. So is there a
Illegal,
mechanism to prevent that?
illegal, without your
No, I do
consent,
agree it's
because
illegal. But how do I know in the first place that something that's happened using my assets?
okay, so if your assets, be it a polygon or be it any other, suppose your bicycle is standing there and if it is not locked, I tried and have a one junkie ride and then kept it back, it's again an illegal. Maybe you and me are in a friendly terms, but once it comes as a commercial activity, even if he has taken without your consent, number one, it is illegal. With your consent, if he has taken, you have to check it whether it's not to be repeated, and if your question is to verify whether it is genuine or non-genuine, then you can you can be assisted through any freely available apps on the Google itself, that yes, is my polygon correct, conforming to the UDR standard, correct?
Sir, coming to the basics, like how do I know in the first place whether my polygon has been uploaded or not? Like if it's done, then whether the correctness of that also is to be checked, and then whether it has been done with my consent. So in the first place, I should know whether my farm place has been uploaded by someone illegally. How do I know that?
Okay. So illegally meaning thereby, if you are exporting or you yourself are exporting, or if you are giving to any of the downstream value chain, the consent of the farmer is a must in the UDR. That's why in the Dimitra UDR portal, I have shown you the consent of the local communities. That is a must. So that has been taken in the form of the survey meaning thereby the consent. So if you had given any of your polygons with your consent, without your consent, if it is uploaded meaning thereby the exporter, the supplier, he has to upload there on the request of purchase order being received by the buyer. In that you don't have any say. Only your say is that I have legally given my polygon and my polygon has given with my consent.
So what is this tool? What is this consent tool? Is it an OTP like thing or
Yes,
a password?
correct. You asked absolutely correct. It's not an OTP kind of a tool. It's the consent that at the time of getting the harvest of yours, either you going to the buying station or any representative coming at your farm gate to buy the price, to buy the harvest as well as paying the price on the digital mode itself. That's why blockchain is required. A digital consent from there has to be from your side, not in the form of OTP, but in the just a form of when you are giving your farm records, you are giving your polygon. At that stage, the exporter or a downstream enterprise will require from you
Digital consent, which is not defined it. Am I right? That's not defined.
Consent meaning thereby out of the goodwill or out of the agreed commercial terms.
Sir, finally, okay, I come, but there's no specific consent mechanism now, which presently can be misused. No, like it can be
Yes,
like the
anything
farmer
can
court
be
will say,
misused, meaning thereby, suppose any downstream player has gone to the 100 farmers and 99 have given a consent in the digital form, not in the form of OTP, in the digital recorded form, and one has not given. Yes, illegal activities can be there, but intent has to be minimized as minimum as possible.
I think that should be some mechanism wherein this consent from the farmer has to be ensured or double checked. In fact, it's just not one OTP wouldn't suffice, because as farmers we may be a little ignorant about those things, digital fact. So it should be a two-layer checks or something like that, wherein his assets, his or her assets, must be very clearly proprietary of the farmer. There should not be a
Yes,
misuse
you
of that.
had
Then,
used
then
the
I
correct
think
word.
we
I
need to
had
improve that.
also emphasized on the same point that the entire digital assets is first owned by the farmer. Your point of stating, okay, two-stage verification or two-stage consent has to be there. Consent of the growing community is very well structured part of the EUDR legislation. How that is used, how that is bypassed, if at all I can use that word, those are the things which the downstream players need to take care of. But the players that we are engaged with, be it a cooperative or be it the government agencies or semi-government agencies, we take a double check on those points.
Sir, okay. With because of lack of time, let me just hurry up my second part, sir. Second question.
Sure.
Sir, you said that the first place says a third person can come and take the polygons, all those things without consent or whatever. And then if there is a mistake or someone comes with without our knowledge and they upload it, and you said it's a blockchain kind of a mechanism, so we can't correct the error, no? Or suppose, for example, I myself take the polygons or something like that and then upload it, but because of technical reasons or because of my reduced knowledge or whatever be it, if I need to make a correction in that tomorrow, it's not possible. That's what I understand. Correct,
Okay.
no?
So when you use the word upload, so upload of the polygon is required only when the container is being, be it container or be it a vessel, if it is exported outside the origin country, only then it is uploaded. Till that, it remains the asset of yours. Suppose me as an exporter, ABC, comes to you to take a harvest of yours as a soybean or a coffee. I will take your harvest, and then with your consent, I will take the polygons also. And if I am uploading there on the EUDR portal, and in turn buyer will be uploading in the EUDR the traces entry system, that is not the concern of the farmer. At the
Agreed.
time of harvest, but your question is it correctly uploaded? Can I
No,
have a authority to
how
change
do I
it?
re-verify before uploading? Because if there is a mistake in that, then tomorrow I am at loss. So how do I verify that the polygon or whatever the data has been processed, the processed data is correct? How, as a
Okay.
farmer, do I know?
Yes, I'll give it to you answer at that as well. In the website, in the portal of ours, just can you move on the slide? I'm not remembering the slide number. 1, 2, 3. Slide 11. So Dimitra gives an due advantage as well as this kind of a feature is. On the left-hand websites, these are given to the client of ours, be it a cooperative, be it a state government. It will not open because that's an access restricted. And in that, at the time of the harvest itself, the client of Dimitra, be it cooperative or a state government or an exporter, they check that particular polygon, that is it 100% deforestation free, yes or no. Only then the harvest is accepted by the exporter. So this was due diligence we have taken, and individual farm reports. Intentionally, I can show you of the non-India geography, but individual geolocation, individual farm plot, deforestation report is generated by the method. That is the right you can ask to your downstream player that this is my polygon, show me if it is deforestation free, and give me the individual farm deforestation report. Signed by Dimitra, and it is again on the blockchain. QR code will be generated, everything will be generated. So that's
Which
why
cannot be corrected. Which cannot be corrected later because it's already entered the blockchain.
Yes. So on the report itself, the scissor sign will come. So that means it cannot be edited back. So that's why I use the word blockchains.
So that so before it enters this chain, the farmer should be able to verify that.
Yes,
because
so
once
farmer,
it enters the chain, it
suppose
cannot be connected.
first slide. Suppose I wear your shoes and say I am a farmer and I have a harvest of say I'm repeatedly using the word four hectares size because less than 4 and more than 4 is a global classification. So at that stage itself, if you are giving to any of the downstream players, downstream processors, at that stage you need to request to them that yes, share me the individual deforestation report based on the polygons that I'm sharing. And it has to be QR enabled. So there, if you can share with the Atal Incubation Center any of your polygon, marking that it is a specimen polygon, I'll share you the individual deforestation report on the blockchain.
Okay. Before entering the chain, blockchain.
Yes, yes.
Understood. Thanks for
Any
that.
next?
Thank you, sir. That's all from me.
So we have just a minute, sir. We have few questions in the chat box. I will read it for you, sir. So the first question is by Miss Jyoti, and she is asking if we can do the same procedure for timber and paper manufacturing factories as well.
Yes, EUDR requires timber also to be the deforestation free, and heightened activity in the timber space have happened in last 1 month. We all are reading the pink papers. Similar activity, yes, it can be, it not can be, it compulsorily has to be done with the timber case as well. But timber little complex, meaning thereby the planted forest and the natural forest. That needs to be taken care of. That's why I had intentionally used, I incorporated one slide, slide 12, where we show our capabilities of the estimation from the satellites of the natural forest as well as the man-made forest. So in timber, it is a man-made forest which has to be harvested in a stipulated time. So for timber, yes, the EUDR is required, and similar application and similar procedure has to be adopted for timber as well. Next, please.
So the next question is by Kariyappa, sir. He is asking if he has two questions. The first one being, what are the commercials involved for the farmer?
Okay.
And the second one being, will any data mining be conducted, and will the farmer benefit from this or have access to this?
If suppose the Android Play Store, you are going and downloading the Dimitra connected coffee app or a connected farmer app, there you could able to get your entire farm process digitized. And that is the requirement of any downstream player today or tomorrow. Added advantage is that which we have not commercially used it, meaning thereby, once suppose a farmer is there, his entire farm records gets documented and digitized, he can approach to the BFSI, banking financial institutions, to avail for a loan, because everything gets digitized and bank will engage into a tripartite kind of an agreement and state that I want alternate day basis or a weekly or a monthly basis satellite reports of that particular farm plot, so as to capture the natural growth of the crop or any other thing that he has grown. So this is an added advantage in what farmer will be getting and why farmer has to digitize himself. So this is the reason that he has to digitize. Now it is completely clear that entire agro-commodity value chain has to be digitized. Coming on the commercials, what exactly the commercials will be there? So commercials are segregated into two parts. If the exporter is there or a processor is there, he will be requiring the Dimitra EUDR supplier web portal. Similarly, a client of Dimitra sitting in the 27 EU nations, he will be requiring Dimitra EUDR operator web portal. So same will be a mirror image will be there in the EU, and the other image will be there in the origin source country. Now, what is the commercials for the farmer or for the growers? So that can be discussed on the Dimitra UDR portal. Once the entire Connected Farmer app you download it, start using it, then you have an interactive numbers there, both Indian and the US numbers, and then emails are there. You can shoot a mail over there, and then we can take it ahead from there itself with your size of the plantation and the quantum annual tentative count quantum of harvest annually. Next question.
Next question
answer?
is that is the app okay?
Yep.
So the next question is that is the app built on India stack? How is authentication done?
Yes, it is an India stack. Any other techno details requirements are there. If at all, if it's a cooperative or other stuff, that can be taken on the global platforms from my global techno team in the US. That can be discussed and shared everything.
Okay, so okay.
Agri stacks are involved, and we run it all those all the apps of ours, either the Dimitra Connected Farmer, Connected Coffee app, as well as the Dimitra UDR web portal on the DMPR web chains, Dimitra tokens at the backend, including Ethereum, including Solana web chain.
Okay, so we have another question by Mr. Sharath asking, how will this certification affect the domestic market?
Like I gave the example of Thailand because I was interacting with the government that the domestic market, suppose any tender floats, and in that within domestic you mean within India or the South Asia, Southeast Asia region as well, any country domain specific which is not requiring as of now the UDR compliant commodities. Clear division will be in the two compartments. One is UDR certified product, one is non-UDR certified product. So slowly and slowly non-UDR certified product will be fizzled out. At least in 7 commodities of this, it will be more of UDR compliance. And the price changes, price variations, costings variations between UDR compliant, non-UDR compliant will be there definitely.
Yes, so we have we have 2 questions by Dr. Ranganath. The first one being, since coffee is grown under dense shade canopies, how can satellite imagery be reliably monitor deforestation or canopy changes in these shaded plantations? And the
It can be completely done. Yeah. Okay, you can complete your question first.
Okay, sir. So the second question is that what actions and functions that an IoT device perform with respect to point 8, that is collection unit and processing unit?
Okay, let me answer both of your questions. First of all, the satellite imagery resolution that is required under the UDR is 10 by 10 meter. And we can say in Mexico, I will just not share the name of the company. We are doing it for the underground tuber crop. So when I say tuber crop, the message is clear. It grows somewhere around 6-7 centimeters beneath the earth. Satellite pictures can be taken of that tuber crop itself, depending upon what kind of resolution you require. Suppose you are a cooperative or you are an exporter or you are any of the downstream processors, you say, okay, 10 by 10 meter is mandated in the UDR for coffee or for palm, and we require, say, 2 by 2 meter. Yes, we are ready to deliver it. 1 by 1 meter, we are ready to deliver it. Even if it is then NDVI indexes will be required, the vegetation and the photosynthesis of that particular crop field, and then the rays gets penetrated down inside the earth as well. Second part of the question is the IoT devices. Yes, IoT devices can be connected along with, I'm using the word, along with the satellite images, so that both IoT devices and the satellite images pictures correlate and in sync with each other, both at the free fruit, fresh fruit bunches stage, or at the age of, at the site of when you start processing that particular commodity. So at both the stages, IoT devices at the farm gate as well as at the processing unit can be incorporated along with the satellite images with high resolutions. And this is more applicable in the palm case and high value herbs and saffron the cases as well. Yes, coffee also it will be applicable. Hope I answered.
Yes, so we have another question by Mr. Suraj. He's an incubating startup under AIC who's working on the traceability part. Um, so wanted, he's telling that getting a 10 into 10 scaling for mapping and a few other specifics and even the blockchain is a very costly affair. And he wants to know who pays for it, so whether the farmer or the buyer or trader of the commodity.
Blockchain, first of all, it's not some costly affair. Getting images from the satellites also is not a costly affair. So right at this particular stage, getting the pictures from the satellites, because lots and lots of satellites are going into the space, the data that has to be generated and the quality of data, the prices have come down. So that's why right now we have access to 23 satellites, depending upon what kind of a resolution the client is requiring. Some of the governments we are, okay, let me elaborate my brief also, restricting the name of the sovereign country, where the resolution is required much more higher so as to map their entire farm unit. So similarly, it can be on the higher resolution if at all it is required, and who pays that? It has to be equally distributed among the entire value chain, ranging from a grower planter to the harvester to the exporter and the downstream processor. Next, please.
Okay, sir. We have now we shall take one last question by Mr. Jayanta. You can proceed asking your question, sir.
I'm Jayanta. I'm from Northeast. Actually, Northeast farmers are marginal to small farmers. Now, this UDR compliance for them, basically, as we know, the coffee in the Northeast are growing under the forest coverage. But yet, in certain areas, the Robusta coffee, they started cultivating under Areca nut. So whether this UDR compliance have any relation with other, if they are growing coffee under the Areca nut coverage, this is one question. The second, sir, is because the Northeast farmers are still now in the nascent stage of coffee cultivation. And the traders from the outside, they are fetching the coffee and they are taking that. Once, suppose a small farmer or a marginal farmer is having a small area, can we have a polygon of 2-3 farmers together in one place? This is the second question. The third question is, the trader comes and fetch the coffee. Once they take up the UDR compliance and have their own polygon matters, and then the traders, once they take up the micro lot coffee and then bulk it, how do we authenticate it? How do the farmers have their credentiality? These are these minor questions that I wanted to. Thank you.
Okay, 4 questions you have clubbed. I will require at least 40 minutes to answer them, but let me try to be as precise as possible. The polygon has to speak in the same language of the farm record. So meaning thereby, suppose before, as 4-5 gentlemen from the Northeast I am in touch with, including the Mizoram government. Intent is that of the UDR legislation, the farmland records is equal to polygon. So your question is answered if the polygon of the nearby farmer is also clubbed in my name. No, it cannot be there. So polygon is equal to the farmland record. Suppose tomorrow, say 1 month down the line, you had a commercial activity with the neighboring farm plot of yours and you buys his land legally, completely, and in the digital records of the respective state government, it is uploaded. So now your polygon changes. As in the previous question also one gentleman asked, what is the polygon authenticity and the other stuffs. So in that case, if you had bought that particular land, it has come in your name now legally.
Oh.
Now that polygon, you can change it and correct it and alter it. So next time, if any of the downstream player comes to you, earlier in 1 year, suppose I had given you a harvest from this polygon, now my land records change, now my polygons become this, because I had legally bought that land. Or any other land parcel, if the state or federal government has changed its denomination, meaning thereby that particular land is now fit for agricultural cultivation and I had legally bought it. That also polygon will be in your names. Now, your first question was how you will click the polygon. So if it is less than 4 hectares, it is simply latitude, longitude, any free available app, you can download it from, and the government also have, some central India governments, I have seen that you can just go into your farmland and stand in the center of the farmland and latitude, longitude is clicked. That is sufficient so as to link it to your farmland if it is legally in your name. So that is one way of getting the polygon clicked. So here the word of spot polygon can be used or a geofence can be used. If your farm estate of a coffee estate is more than 4 hectares, then yes, a little complexity is there. Not complexity, little additional effort is there. There you can have a minimum 3, 4 or 5 vertices, minimum 3 but 4, 5 vertices so as to give the correct representation of your farmland. The other part of your question is, suppose the trader comes and he buys it and then he mixes it. That's his responsibility to, once he himself is exporting, he has to segregate the entire farmer along with his harvest in the digital value chain, in the Dimitra EUDR portal, he is exporting. Other part of the question is that if the coffee and areca nut is grown, right now there is no complexity, but tomorrow if you grow coffee and soybean together, which practically is not possible. If the audience, any agro scientists are there, they can give their views. But any EUDR certified, any EUDR commodity, coffee and the soybean growing together at same farm plot or a nearby farm plot, then it is a difficulty, which is practically not possible. So that's why if the areca nut and the coffee is growing together, it's not an issue. In the case of EUDR, as of now, tomorrow if areca nut comes in the EUDR ambit, it is a huge difficulty.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Any next, or you want to conclude, madam?
I have one simple question, Raghu here. Are you aiming to develop this app for iOS as well? And the second question is,
we have iOS, we discontinued, but maybe in next 2 months iOS will be rolled out. Earlier we used to have it, then we discontinued it, we moved into the Android one, and in next 3 to 4 months, to exact timelines I can't give it, but yes, we have plans to roll out on iOS as well.
and do you have this in web-based as well, or you don't have it today?
Yes, once the connected farmer or a connected coffee or a connected soybean app is there, Android app is there, it can move into the web-based as well.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Tushar sir, for answering all the questions. As we are running short of time, now I shall proceed with the formal vote of thanks. A very good afternoon, everyone. We extend our heartfelt thanks to Mr. Tushar Singh, Director, South and Central Asia, Dimitra Technologies, for his insightful session on the Thought Cafe webinar series. On behalf of AIC-CCRI-CED, we appreciate your expertise and enthusiasm on the topic, understanding EUDR, preparing India's coffee sector for the compilance. Your valuable contributions are greatly appreciated and we look forward to future collaborations. A special thanks to all the participants for your active engagement and insightful questions. Thank you all.
Thanks for providing the platform and the interactive audience.